More than 8 centuries ago, a prophecy was spoken in the quiet deserts of Arabia, words that would shape the destiny of empires.
The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, proclaimed, "Constantinople shall surely be conquered." What a wonderful commander will that be, and what a wonderful army.
Driven by the burning desire to be that chosen warrior, the great companion of the Prophet Salama, Abu Ayyub al-Ansari, took up his sword.
Despite his old age, he led a massive army across harsh deserts and mountains, traveling thousands of miles for one sacred purpose.
Finally, they reached the legendary walls of Constantinople. Walls so massive, they were believed to be built by the gods themselves. A brutal siege began. The air was filled with fire, steel, and the blood of the brave. The old warrior fought like a lion among wolves. But the walls did not fall. Abu Ayyub al-Ansari fought until his last breath, becoming the first legendary martyr at the gates of the city. His men buried him secretly near the walls, hiding his resting place from the enemy. His body was gone, but his spirit remained, waiting.
Centuries passed. Empires rose and fell. Many armies came to conquer the city, but all of them were crushed beneath its mighty walls.
For 800 years, the prophecy waited, until a boy was born in the Ottoman Empire, a boy whose veins burned with the fire of destiny. Mehmed. Sent away to the beautiful province of Manisa, young Prince Mehmed was far from the capital's politics. But his mind was never at rest. While other princes lived in luxury, Mehmed surrounded himself with maps, engineering books, and the brilliant minds of scholars. He didn't just sharpen his mind, he hardened his body. He trained day and night, preparing himself for a war the world thought was impossible.
Meanwhile, hundreds of miles away, the golden city of Constantinople stood proudly, a symbol of wealth, power, and untouchable glory.
Inside its walls, Emperor Constantine XI felt entirely safe. He believed his empire would last until the end of time.
No army can breach these walls, the emperor laughed. Let the Ottomans try. They will only break their teeth on our stones. Back in the Ottoman capital, Mehmed's father, Sultan Murad, was growing old and exhausted. Decades of non-stop wars had drained his spirit, and within the shadows of the Ottoman court, the powerful Grand Vizier, Halil Pasha, was pulling the strings. He wanted peace, not conquest.
Halil Pasha thought the empire should stop fighting and enjoy its wealth. But Mehmed only saw the ancient prophecy.
Standing by the stormy sea, the young prince made a vow that would echo through eternity. Either I will conquer Constantinople, or Constantinople will conquer me. But destiny works in mysterious ways. A lone rider rushed towards the capital of Edirne, carrying news that would shatter the empire. The news arrived. Prince Al-Din, the Sultan's beloved eldest son and the heir to the throne, had suddenly passed away. Sultan Murad was completely broken. The undefeated commander who had crushed armies fell to his knees, crying not as a king, but as a father. Consumed by grief, Murad could no longer bear the weight of the empire. He made a decision that shocked the world. He stepped down from the throne.
Grand Vizier Halil Pasha was in total panic. The strong sultan was leaving, and the only heir left was a young boy in Manisa.
The royal decree reached Manisa. Mehmed mourned the loss of his brother, but he knew what this meant. The empire was calling him.
At just 12 years old, Prince Mehmed left his training and marched to the capital. The boy was about to become the master of the world.
As he walked through the grand halls of Edirne, the older ministers bowed. But in their eyes, they only saw a weak child.
They placed the heavy crown of the Ottoman Empire on his head. Mehmed was now the Sultan. But across Europe, the enemies smiled. They thought a child on the throne meant the end of the Ottoman Empire. They were about to learn a terrifying lesson. The mighty Ottoman army, the Janissaries, looked at their new child sultan with doubt. They whispered in the shadows, questioning his strength. But Mehmed ignored their whispers. While they doubted him, his mind was already miles ahead, planning the future of the empire. News of the child sultan reached Europe. Seeing an opportunity, the Crusaders immediately broke their peace treaty. The ruthless commander, John Hunyadi, gathered a massive army and began marching toward the Ottoman borders. Inside the palace, Grand Vizier Halil Pasha tried to take control. He thought he could easily manipulate the young boy, but when he looked into Mehmed's eyes, he didn't see a child. He saw a sharp, unbending will that refused to be controlled. The tension grew, the streets filled with restless soldiers. The young sultan was facing a storm from the outside and a fire from the inside. Fearing the fall of the empire, the Grand Vizier made a secret and drastic decision behind Mehmed's back. He sent an urgent message far away to the former Sultan, Murad, begging him to return and save them. Sultan Murad, who had retreated to a life of prayer and peace, received the call. His rest was over. The empire needed him once again.
To save the empire from the Crusaders, Sultan Murad returned to the capital. The veteran commander was back to take charge.
Father and son stood face to face. Mehmed understood the politics. He knew the Grand Vizier had orchestrated this to remove him.
Without a single word of protest, the young sultan stepped down. He handed the empire back to his father to keep the peace.
Murad sat on the throne once more, ready to crush the enemies of the state. Order was restored in the capital.
Meanwhile, Mehmed was sent back to Manisa. A boy who was king for a moment, now just a prince again. The journey was long and quiet.
As night fell over the forest, Mehmed sat by the fire. Others might have felt defeated, but in his heart, the fire of ambition was only growing stronger. Suddenly, a miracle appeared in the heavens. A spectacular lunar eclipse painted the night sky. The moon turned a glowing, majestic red.
Mehmed looked up. He knew this was not a coincidence. It was a divine sign. The heavens were speaking to him.
The prophecy wasn't delayed. It was simply preparing him. The walls of Constantinople were still waiting for their true master.
He was leaving as a boy, but when he returns, he will return as the conqueror. The world is not ready.